You know, every now and again something happens that restores your faith in people. Over the past 16 weeks, I've had the privilege of working with a group of hospitality teachers from 2 township schools in South Africa. Now, on the surface, this was a teacher training program. My colleagues and I spent Saturdays together exploring hospitality, looking at industry trends, developing practical skills, discussing careers, and finding new ways to inspire young people to consider hospitality as a profession. But somewhere along the way, I realized the story wasn't really about hospitality. And it certainly wasn't about me. It was about teachers, the real heroes of our communities. What struck me from the very beginning was commitment. These teachers voluntarily gave up 16 Saturdays. Think about that for a moment. 16 Saturdays away from their families, away from their own responsibilities, away from the chance to rest. Not because they had to, but because they wanted to become better teachers, because they wanted to create better opportunities for the young people in their classrooms. Week after week, they arrived with energy, enthusiasm, and a willingness to learn. Whether they were practicing service skills, learning culinary techniques, building business models, or participating in classroom activities, they threw themselves into every task. They laughed. They challenged each other. They became students again. And honestly, their enthusiasm became infectious. The more time we spent with them, the more I found myself asking a question. What must it take to do the job they do every day? Many of the learners in these schools face challenges that most of us can scarcely imagine. For some of the pupils, the meal they receive at school is the only meal of the day. Many come from homes affected by poverty. Some are exposed to domestic violence, gang violence, and crime. Others live in communities where basic services are non-existent and opportunities are limited. And yet every morning, their teachers stand in front of their classrooms and say, in effect, your future can be better. Your circumstances do not define you. There is hope. That takes a special kind of a person, a special kind of a teacher. During our program, I met a principal who has dedicated more than 3 decades of his life to one of these schools. 30 years. Just think about that. 30 years of watching generations of young people walk through those gates. 30 years of dealing with challenges that would make many people give up. And yet, despite everything he has witnessed, despite the tragedies that have touched his community, despite the heartbreaking realities that sometimes surround these schools, he remains inspired. He still believes. He still gets up every morning believing that education can change lives. I found that deeply moving, because hope is not something that simply exists. Hope is something that people create. And teachers create hope every single day. The greatest challenge facing many young South Africans is not simply unemployment. It is the loss of belief that a better future is possible. When hope disappears, other influences rush in to fill the gap: despair, crime, violence, gang culture, drugs, a feeling that nothing will ever change. Well, this is why I've become so passionate about connecting young people with the hospitality industry. My colleagues and I know that hospitality offers something incredibly powerful. It offers opportunity. It offers dignity. It offers lifelong careers, entrepreneurship. It offers travel. It offers growth. And perhaps most importantly, it offers hope. A young person who discovers hospitality may become a chef. They may become a hotel manager. They may own a restaurant. They may work on a cruise ship. They may travel the world. They may build a life they never imagined possible. But before any of that happens, somebody has to plant the seed. Somebody has to say, you can do this. And very often, that somebody is a teacher. One teacher, one conversation, one moment of encouragement. I realize that many of the successful hospitality students we see today probably began their journey because of a teacher who believed in them. Long before they arrived at hotel school or university, long before they entered a kitchen, long before they attended any training program, a teacher saw potential. A teacher encouraged them. A teacher changed the direction of their life. Now that's influence. That is leadership. And that is why I believe teachers remain among the most important people in our society. Of course, teacher training programs like this require support. They require sponsors. They require partnerships. They require people willing to contribute their time, expertise, and resources. And I am grateful to everyone who made this initiative possible. But the real credit belongs to the teachers themselves, the people who continue to show up, the people who continue to care, the people who continue to believe in young people when it would be easier not to. As I look back on these 16 weeks, I realize that we may have been the ones standing at the front of the classroom, but we were also the ones learning. We learned about resilience. We learned about commitment. We learned about service in its purest form. And above all, I was reminded that changing the world rarely happens through grand gestures. More often, it happens quietly in a classroom, in a school corridor, in a conversation between a teacher and a young person. The lessons I take away from this experience is simple. If you want a better future for South Africa, inspiring young people is everyone's responsibility. It's not just teachers, but it's parents, employers, businesses, communities, all of us. Because every successful young person was once a child who needed somebody to believe in them. And sometimes, the difference between failure and success is just one person who says, I see something special in you. So to every teacher who continues to make that difference every day, often without recognition, often without applause, and often under the most difficult circumstances, thank you. Thank you. You are shaping futures. You are creating hope. And whether society recognizes it or not, you are among the real heroes of South Africa. Thank you for listening.